All right, navigation. Navigation in its essence is the way people access the content on your website. And there's three main categories for navigation. There's menus, categories, and tags. And each of these have quite a bit of ground to cover for them, so we're going to dive into each one, starting with menus. So a menu is, at the top bar of your website, you've got home, contact, about, blog, so on and so forth. That's a menu. And the menus are located on many different areas. Up top, some doubles, some menus in your footer bar. They can be pretty much anywhere. And there's some general rules to your menu navigation that are important. For one, you want to have shallow navigation. Now, what that means is you want to make sure that any content on your website only requires 2 or 3 clicks for a user to get to. Okay? If someone has to make 8 clicks to get to a blog post, you've got a problem. And guess what? Search engine crawlers will know. They'll be able to tell what much effort it would take for someone to access the content on your site. So this is something for you to consider and take seriously, because you better believe that search engines are. And why they care about this is if they're going to refer one of their users to you, and even if your content is super amazing, they don't want to have that user have to click 8 times just to find where they were at before. That's not good, right? And so search engines care about how easy it is for people to access the information on your site. Some other tips for menus: you want to keep your menu titles very short and clear. If someone clicks on a menu item, you want to make sure that whatever describes that menu item is what they're going to get when the page pops up that they're going to. Okay. You want to avoid drop-down menus. So a drop-down menu, they're fine unless you're using JavaScript. If you are using JavaScript, Google crawlers will have a hard time determining what's in those menus, and it can have a negative effect on your SEO. And then just as an aside, anything in your footer link, Google's going to be like, I don't think that's very important. Okay, and for good reason, because I don't know anybody that goes straight down to the footer to browse a website, right? Like if you're going to the footer only if you need a job or something. Okay, so Google is onto that. They don't prioritize the menu links in the footer page, and that's worth noting. Okay, moving on to categories. So when it comes to posts in particular, categories help classify that content. So as a general rule, categories are the main topics of what you're writing about in your content marketing. What's nice about categories is there's hierarchies. You can have main topics and subtopics of your content, which can be very useful, especially if you're really growing your content marketing. You have a lot of resources to help classify that information. And by the way, robots love organization. They love it. They eat it up. A well-organized site is so yummy to Google robots. So it's worth putting some effort into, and taking a step back and analyzing what you want to write about in order to provide the best experience for people when it comes to their category searches. Again, just like in menus, you want to keep your category names short and sweet and to the point. There's a KISS acronym here that we're going to be using. Keep it simple, silly. And also you want to make sure that your content is spread evenly throughout your categories. So suppose you have 25 blog posts in 5 categories. You want 5 posts in each of those categories. Google wants to see that you have authority in all of those categories, and they want to see the content distributed evenly. If for one reason you've got one topic that you were just on fire about, writing a lot of topics about, split that into 2 categories. Okay, that's a really great method to use when it comes to categories. Now we're going to talk about tags, the final one. Tags are less important unless you have a massive website. I wouldn't really leverage tags. All right, so if we're talking about a book, the categories will be your table of contents and your tags will be the index. So it's important things that people might want to look up, but not as big as a category, right? Some people use tags as keyword stuffing tools. That's a no-no. You definitely want to make sure that the tags relate to your content. The Google and search engine algorithms are getting very clever, very smart, and they will be able to tell if the content you're writing about has anything to do with the tag that you're tagging it in. I would not keyword stuff with tags. And in fact, I would hesitate, unless you have a massive website, I would hesitate to use tags at all. So yeah, that covers that. To summarize, navigation is a very critical part of your website. You want to make sure that the content you're making is not only amazing content, but that people can access it easily. This is important not only for your user experience, but it's also important for your SEO rankings. So worth putting some effort into.